That's alright now, mama. That's alright with you. That's alright now, mama. Just any way you do, and that's alright. That's alright. That's alright now, mama. Any way you wanna do.
Hey, before this video starts and I start ripping this guy a new one, a little backstory. Exclusive Ace is a Call of Duty stat channel and he's fantastic. If you play Warzone, you should absolutely be following him and watching his content because it's extremely informative. That being said, he's also a bit of a console peasant, and he really let that side out of his cage in this video. To be fair, a lot of COD YouTubers are massive console peasants, but if you base your whole channel around stats and facts, it's probably not a good idea to provoke the console versus PC fight, because that's not a fight you're gonna win. So in the off chance that Exclusive Ace actually sees this video, love your content. This is some tough love.
What's up, guys? My name is Ace, and today we're going to be talking about a video that's been making its rounds on Twitter, and a lot of people have been talking about this so far, and it looks like this is a new potential way to have a quote-unquote aimbot for consoles.
Literally the first sentence, and we're being disingenuous. A quote-unquote aimbot? No, this is an aimbot. COD YouTubers and console players in general seem to be buying into this delusion that the consoles are unhackable, despite there being literally decades of evidence to the contrary. We all know how hacked the 360 and PS3 were, but the Xbox One and PS4 have a ton of problems of their own. Sure, you don't see as many aimbots or wall hacks on console, but you do see a lot of exploits and glitches that never get fixed. And the cheaters using those methods are never punished because of the way these platforms are laid out. Most everyone knows that it's infinitely harder to push a patch out on a console than a PC, because the patch has to be approved by Microsoft or Sony or whoever. Whereas on the PC, you can just push out the update. There's nobody who owns the PC. There's a reason the 7th gen COD games are almost unplayable today. There's a reason a lot of the 8th gen COD games are rapidly becoming unplayable. Black Ops 3 is unbearable on Xbox One at least because of all the unfixed glitches in that game that make you invisible or unkillable, and that's also glossing over all the controller mods that never got a security update. So while it's true the consoles have less third-party options for cheating, they still have a tremendous cheating problem. But that was also kind of a side tangent to set the stage as to how COD YouTubers like to frame the whole cheating thing. So let's go back to what Ace says here. And again, this is the first sentence of his video.
And it looks like this is a new potential way to have a quote-unquote aimbot for consoles.
A quote-unquote aimbot, in reference to a literal aimbot. Oh, don't worry, it gets worse.
Now, for those that aren't aware, the current generations of consoles are still generally pretty secure.
I mean, aside from modded controllers, sure. Generally speaking, the PS5 and Series X are rather secure, and I genuinely hope it stays that way. But downplaying problems like this is not how that happens. When you downplay these kinds of things, you only enable people to keep doing them. But keep going.
So this includes like PS4, Xbox One, as well as PS5 and Xbox Series X.
Oh, so when you say current generation, you mean literally 2 generations of hardware, one of which has been compromised for years. Got it.
And therefore, at least to my knowledge, and I try to keep my finger on the pulse of this, there is no ability to have actual aimbots or wall hacks on these generations of consoles.
A single Google search here would prove you wrong. I can find aimbots for the 8th gen consoles in a minute. Again, not as widespread or egregious as what's possible on PC, but still very real and very obtainable.
On Xbox 360 and PS3, yes, those got jailbroken a long time ago, and we absolutely saw aimbots and wall hacks on those.
And fun little example of what I mean here, how often did console cheaters actually get banned? PC has more cheaters, yes, but they get detected faster and banned more frequently, again, because developers have more control over their game on the PC. Also, just as a general rule of thumb, a game with bad security is a game with bad security, no matter the platform. If you leave wiggle room for potential cheaters, people are going to cheat. The 7th console generation is a prime example of that.
But at least on the current generations of consoles, keeping in mind we're kind of in between generations at the moment.
Oh, so they're not the same generation. That was fast.
But on both of those generations, the only real method of cheating, which has become very popular, unfortunately, is using devices that alter your inputs, like a Cronus, for instance, which I'm sure most of you guys are fully aware of that.
So the consoles have third-party inputs that are cheating, but because they're not literally jailbroken, that means they're secure. Okay.
And while these devices are absolutely cheating, I am firmly against them, just to be very clear there. They're not nearly as bad as the actual wall hacks or aimbots. They don't show you people through walls, and they can't like immediately snap to somebody's head or anything.
Let me play that clip again in full screen and just listen to what he's saying over this footage.
And while these devices are absolutely cheating, I am firmly against them, just to be very clear there. They're not nearly as bad as the actual wall hacks or aimbots. They don't show you people through walls, and they can't like immediately snap to somebody's head or anything.
You are quite literally showing an aimbot on screen while talking about how this isn't actually an aimbot. If the device locks you onto a target, that's an aimbot. It doesn't matter if it shows them through walls, it doesn't matter if it snaps onto their head or their body. If it snaps you onto an enemy player, that is an aimbot.
They more so just have like advanced aim assist as well as automatic recoil control.
Oh, don't worry guys, it's not an aimbot, it's just advanced aim assist and automatic recoil control. You know, like an aimbot.
Unfortunately, it looks like that is being taken to the next level.
Taken to the next level, meaning it's already been here. On the consoles you said were secure. This video is a train wreck, and it astonishes me you're not being called out for it.
With this new form of a cheat that has just popped up recently, I think it's still in development to my knowledge. I tried to do a little bit of research on it to find out exactly how it works.
Bold of you to use the word research in a video like this.
With this, it still doesn't alter the code of the game or anything like that, because the consoles are still secure.
Oh, it doesn't alter game code, so it's not a big deal. Again, while this is the footage of the thing you're talking about. In the words of William Shakespeare, "You are not worth another word, else I call you a knave."
However, it uses machine learning to scan your screen and detect movement, and this program will automatically change your inputs in order to snap to that moving target.
I have to wonder why you prefaced this video the way you did if you were going to immediately contradict everything you said.
So this is now the closest thing we've seen so far in this generation of consoles to an actual aimbot.
It literally is an aimbot.
And it's very concerning to see this. Now with this, I did want to point out some limitations because I've seen some people blow this out of proportion a little bit, and I'm not trying to downplay this too much.
Yes, you are.
I just want to make sure the facts are out there.
Whew, better take down this video then.
This is not going to be a wall hack. You're not going to be able to detect targets through walls using this because it requires the target to actually be visible on your screen.
You know, like an aimbot.
Which also means you're not going to get that aim lock on somebody that's literally invisible on your screen. Like in Warzone, you're not going to be able to snap to that target that's in the gas 300 meters away and doesn't appear on your screen.
You realize there are different degrees of aimbot, right? Yes, there are the really egregious ones where people are shooting enemies through the walls from 200 meters away, but then there are the more common ones that go off of visibility and line of sight, which is what you're describing. You seem to have this mentality where as long as the console cheats are literally the most egregious thing possible, that means they aren't actually a big deal. And like I said, that's the kind of attitude that just encourages more of it.
You can't do that with this, unlike an actual aimbot on PC.
Aimbot and wall hacks are two different things.
And then another limitation to this is you do require a piece of hardware for your inputs.
Oh, well, in that case.
And it also requires you to have some sort of a capture card and a PC nearby your console, because you have to actually send your gameplay footage to the PC so that this machine learning can analyze what you're seeing on screen and therefore make decisions based on that and send out the inputs.
Just to recap, you said this wasn't actually an aimbot because it doesn't alter the game code, but it does send the gameplay to a PC and the PC analyzes and alters it. Got it.
Having said that though, even with these limitations, this is very scary to see on console because at least without crossplay, we're generally well insulated from something this advanced, something that's actually going to automatically track targets for you.
Again, you're not insulated from it. You've just been ignoring it for some reason. Because for years, the console dudes have been saying they don't want crossplay in COD because of the cheaters, but now that you can't use that excuse, you have to act like it's not there at all. If we could call this what it was, we could just move on, but you guys just refuse to do that for some reason. I don't understand it.
With no input required on your end at all, or very little input. Apparently you will have to aim in the general direction of that target first.
Like an aimbot?
And then this program will sort of do the rest.
Like an aimbot?
But it's really scary to see, especially since this is just the beginning of stages of this. It's scary to see where this could end up going in the future. Fortunately, in its current state, like I said, there are several limitations, and this isn't something you can simply download and install and you're good to go. You will require some hardware, which is fairly expensive, and a lot of it the average person doesn't have.
Yeah, the average PC player doesn't have an aimbot either, but you guys won't shut up about them. Little weird to bring the average person into this conversation, because now you're implying a false argument.
The average person isn't playing with a PC next to them, as well as having a capture card that will actually capture things in real time and not have a significant delay to it.
Oh, well, in that case.
So it's not going to be nearly as accessible as something like a Cronus, where you just buy the device and you're good to go.
Oh yeah, the Cronus. The thing that you described as an aimbot, but then said wasn't an aimbot.
But the fact that this even exists is extremely concerning to me. Now, on the flip side of that, I do like to look at the bright side of things, and one potential upside to this is this may end up forcing the hand of the console manufacturers and various developers to better combat devices which can alter your inputs.
You kid. Such a sweet kid.
This kind of technology could likely be adapted to basically any kind of game out there, and it looks like it's going to have much more of an impact on the game than something like a Cronus, which at this point I don't think console manufacturers or developers see as a massive threat, because it can be so hard to even tell if someone's using a Cronus or not.
And that right there is the biggest problem with Activision's attitude towards cheating. If you can't come up with complete, indisputable proof that someone is cheating, which is often impossible in Warzone because there's no replay system, they won't do anything about it. And oftentimes they still won't do anything about it if there is indisputable proof. It's almost like COD's cheating problem comes down to poor management and a lack of security. I say it again, if you give people the capability to cheat, they will do so regardless of platform.
And the average player doesn't even have a clue about these devices, and therefore it's not really hurting their bottom line.
The average PC player doesn't cheat. Again, with bringing the average person into this argument for some reason, you're making your own argument worse.
So I'm kind of hoping that this advancement in the cheating technology for console is going to force their hand and cause them to develop better security when it comes to plugging various devices into the console itself.
Yeah, that's probably not going to happen.
I'm fully aware of the fact that this will always be an uphill battle. There's always going to be a back and forth here, but I'm hoping this at least gets the ball rolling, and I hope they start taking devices like this far more seriously as a result of this advancement in technology.
Well, given the fact modded controllers have been around since the early 2010s, I kinda doubt it. It's like you said, until it hurts their bottom line, they're not gonna put resources into eliminating it. And if prominent figures in the community continue to downplay them or even use them, nothing will be done. There are Warzone streamers who openly use the Cronus. There are channels like Bad Boy Beeman who are literally dedicated to analyzing streamers and making sure they're not cheating. And the saddest part about this video we're watching right now is the fact that mere days before you uploaded this, you posted a video talking about how bad the cheating in Warzone was. The change of tune from you between PC cheaters and console cheaters is really telling.
Now maybe that's just wishful thinking.
It is.
I always try to look at the positive side of things.
Well, if that's what you want to call it.
And maybe I'm wrong, and this is basically just going to be the end of at least relatively fair console competition as we know it.
I wouldn't go that far, but it's definitely going to get worse from here.
I guess we'll just have to wait and see how this all pans out. At the end of the day, though, all you console players out there should be very concerned about this new style of cheat that's coming to console.
And that's where I'm going to call it. His video is basically over anyways. Closing thoughts, I really don't know how someone like Ace uploaded this unironically and didn't see anything wrong with it. I don't know how someone can have their finger on the pulse of the COD community to such a degree that he knows these aimbots exist, but not enough to know console cheating has been around for some time now. I don't know how someone can look at a controller mod that locks onto an enemy and insist that it's not an aimbot. I expect better from you, Ace, and I expect better from your community too. If I made a video this inaccurate and disingenuous, I would expect my community to call me on it. But I guess we can't all have communities as great as mine. But that's all from me today. If you scroll down to the video's description, you'll find links to my Twitter, my donation link, and my music channel if you want to check out my band. I have a pretty massive response video in the works right now, definitely going to be over an hour long, but I'm going to try and get some more shorter ones in the mix to hold you guys over until that one's done. I'm not about to disappear for another 2 weeks, don't worry. But until then, stay safe, get some air, play some games, and I'll see you in the next one.